Good morning, everyone. It's Christine. Happy Tuesday. So I thought today I would talk about, do you leave your job gracefully? Yep, gracefully. Or do you get in your brainstem and do stuff that you probably should not do that's not going to set you up in the future for success, especially when you're in a small town or sometimes a big city. You just don't know who knows who. I'm going to talk about a couple of things that's happened over the years that's really good for everyone to watch and learn. And if you have kids, you're probably going to want to talk to them about some of this stuff because this is what I see mostly with my younger ones, but sometimes it still happens with my older ones. So I'm going to talk about a few things that's happened over the years that was not graceful when people left their jobs. So let's start with this will be number 4. I'm going to do 4 of them. So I'll never forget the time I was shopping at Sam's Club. And this is like the craziest thing. I was shopping, I was getting my stuff, and all of a sudden I hear all this commotion, and this girl that hands out the samples is like flipping out. And I'm like, what is she doing? The next thing I know, she had taken peanut butter, jelly, and crackers, crumbled it all together, and she's smearing it all over her sample station. Like she is flipping out in Sam's Club, the worker. Something must have happened. She was ticked and she took all the peanut butter and jelly and crackers and smeared it all over her station and she stomped off out the store. And all I could think about, wow, that was my employee. Holy cow. Man, they probably wouldn't get another job. Or if that girl came to me for a job, because we're in a small town, would I hire her? Absolutely not, because her behavior was just out there. I had never seen anything like it. So that was one way not to leave your job. That's number 4. Number 3. This has happened to me. I had a girl put her notice into the box. When you put your notice into one of my boxes, I have cameras on it. So this one took the cake. I think I was probably the most shocked. So I go back to watch to see when she drops her notice when she's going to leave my business. Because I'm like, man, I got a notice in here. Let's go look at this. So I go back and I'm like, wait a minute. How come she's still on the clock? And I go back and start watching cameras and I watch the different rooms and I watch to see when the last kid left her classroom. Yep, time card fraud. I caught time card fraud because when she got done in her classroom, she would go ahead and then she would go to the other classroom and she sat for an hour. And then she would go back and clean. And I was shocked. I had no idea because I worked in the other building and I happened to see her notice go in. So when I went back and watched 2 weeks of tape, I got to remove, because of labor laws, I contacted them and I got to remove the hours that she was doing time card fraud. So when she left me, I had to explain to her and she signed a paper saying she committed time card fraud. Some people don't realize what they should and should not do. And I was shocked. I couldn't believe she was milking the clock for weeks. And I only could go back 2 weeks because you only go during your time card period. I couldn't go back farther. And I found more times when I watched the video for 30 days. But that's one thing not to do. I think sometimes that's why I'm a careers coach at our high school. I coach juniors because of COVID this year. I would have been my 4th year. But I go in and I teach these juniors what you can and cannot do in the workplace. And this is really good information. So that was number 3. No time card fraud. And when you put your notice in, remember, there's cameras in the building. Number 2. Give your notice properly. 2-week notice is a very, very big deal. A lot of people don't do it. I've had lost this year, I think, quite a few to a bigger corporation in our area. And they have training classes and my girls are like, I'm sorry, I only can give you 3 days. And I'm like, are you kidding me? I have to be in ratio. How the heck am I supposed to cover it if you're only giving me 3 days? But the flip side of it is when I hire someone, I will not hire someone if they do not give their employer a 2-week notice, because if they don't give them a 2-week notice, what are the chances they're going to give me a 2-week notice? So I've had girls this year leave and I was pretty upset with that employer because I'm like, that's not fair. You guys know you're going to be hiring these girls. You give them to give 2-week notice. That's proper courtesy. And that shows you be a teammate. Plus that employee, I'm more apt if they do their 2-week notice to give an actual reference for. If they call for the reference, I'll actually do it. I don't normally do references because I've gone to NACI last year and I sat in a room with lawyers and they talk about the different things and stuff and what to do and what not to do legally. But as far as that goes, you want to give your 2-week notice. And if you want to leave gracefully, you give 2-week notice, you train the person taking your spot, and you leave notes for everyone as a good coworker. That way you don't burn any bridges. Okay, so number 1, this really did happen. I can't find it. I was looking for it. This happened a while back ago. I got to work one day and one of the employees said, there's a card in your slot by your door. And I said, what? And she goes, there's a card in the slot by your door. So I go to pull the card And I sit down at my desk and I open this card and it's a sympathy card. And I'm like, what the heck? Did someone die? I'm like, I don't know anyone that died. So I'm going through reading the front of the sympathy card and I open it up and I read the card. I'm like, this is so bizarre. And then I catch it on top and I had to read it 3 times. On the very top, an employee wrote, I am sorry to let you know I am your loss. My last day is Thursday. And I'm like, what the heck? And I read it 3 more times. She put her notice in on a sympathy card and told me that was her that she was my loss. And I was like in shock. I was stunned. I don't think over all the years I've gotten a sympathy card to tell me that was their last 2 weeks. Nope, nothing formally typed out. They got a sympathy card for me to tell me and did not sign it. So I opened my door up and I said to my employee, what is going on? And she's like, what are you talking about? I'm like, I just got a sympathy card for a notice. I'm like, who is this from? They didn't even sign it. And sure enough, it was from a girl down the hall. So I didn't even go right away because I was just so stunned. Do not give your employer a sympathy card. I'm telling you, it's kind of funny, but it's not funny because then I'm like, is that arrogant or not arrogant? Like, I was so shocked. So my advice is not to give your employer a sympathy card. Let's just say that after I asked all the employees who it was and stuff and why I got a sympathy card, that employee that night messaged me the next morning and didn't come back. But she only gave me a 2-day notice. Once again, she was going to a bigger employer. And I was like, I'm not upset with you. I understand if you feel like you need more pay or insurance and all that stuff, go for it. But common courtesy is 2-week notice. I'm not upset with you. But I didn't even address the sympathy card because I was so in shock that day. I even went home and my husband was laughing. But yeah, that's number 1. Do not give a sympathy card to your employer when you're going to tell them you're leaving. I do not think that would be the right way to go. But anyways, hi, Beth. Hi, Monique. Hi, Rose. Hi, Kathy. Hi, Sheba. How are you guys today? Thanks for watching. Over the years, I run into weird stuff. I want to say that took the cake, a sympathy card to tell me that you're leaving. I love 2-week notices. I expect that in return, and I expect respect in everyone else. I love respecting other businesses. I'm chamber members with a lot of the bigger businesses and the smaller businesses, and I love keeping things local. But when stuff like that happens, it does hit a nerve when you need the 2-week notice for ratios for all of our kids. So anyways, I hope you guys have an amazing day and you learned something today, and you have a great day. I'll talk to you later. Bye.